Sonic Chilled here with a review for Sid Meier's Civilization VII. Sid Meier's Civilization VII is a strategy game made by Firaxis Studios where you play as a leader and a nation to prove that you are the dominant civilization versus other civilizations, whether it be through military, economic, science, or cultural victories. Now, to set the stage, I love the Sid Meier's Civilization series. I have over 2,000 hours in both 5 and 6, and Civilization is one of those games that I constantly pull up to relax and unwind after stream or a long day at work. Needless to say, when Civ 7 was announced, I was excited to play. I bought the Founders Edition and I looked forward for its release date. I also know the common joke or trend behind it saying the best time to play said Civ game is when the new Civ game is released, and I understand that. When I played Civ 7, there was a lot more to that. There was a lot of decisions that made me just go, why? So for examples, why is huge not an option in the settings? I like big worlds. Why am I limited to that? And going on with that, why are the maps not really unique or anything? A lot of them just feel very generic, copy pasted from a template. There's no real randomness to this. Why can we not deselect certain victory conditions? I hate to score victory. It annoys me so much because a lot of times you're about to win, whether it be through economics, military, science, or whatever, and you lose, or you're not there because you focus solely on that one win condition, and you lose to a nation that's nowhere close to any of those, but focused on all four and has a higher score. Logically, that makes no sense. Like, especially for me, I play against AIs and not other people, and I don't like being by the computer because they decide to prioritize everything rather than rush a certain victory condition. Why is there no resource settings in the start page? Why can I not select how abundant or how rare resources are? Why is 8 players the max? Where's my 12 people? Why can't I not decide how many city-states there are on the map? What if I don't want city-states and just want civilization versus civilization? Just for a challenge, right? A lot of the customization seems to be missing, and the customization for Civ games is kind of like, it's not a added-on feature, it's basic. It's in the core game. Going into the game itself, why is the UI not clear? A lot of items and details are hidden in the submenus, and I've played 7 rounds so far of Civ 7, and I'm still learning stuff. And I've been learning stuff by just accidentally clicking like an icon that didn't seem clickable, and suddenly it pulls up a menu or details. But the advisors don't tell me anything. And then speaking of in the game itself, the most annoying thing is, why is there no auto explore? I don't want to manually every turn command my unit to go in a direction. Yes, I can set them to go in a certain direction for 10 turns, but after 10 turns, which especially at the starting age, that goes really fast. Also, without the auto explore, a lot of times I find that my scout going in a certain direction for 10 turns has missed a couple event items. Why do I need a unit to finish its movement before I can end my turn? Some units are fast, the cavalry is great, but there's also units that are so slow, like the siege units and the naval ships. Why do I have to watch a naval ship slowly travel across the ocean for 4 or 5 tiles before I can actually end my turn? Why does that animation have to be a thing? Why is there no skip animation option? Why is the notifications for attribute points not really noticeable? Why is the info for buildings not really clear? Why do advisors not advise you where is the best place to build and what buildings work well with other buildings? Especially since we have to be very selective of where we're building, this would be very useful. Going on to the later ages, why is it not clear on the consequences for replacing a building? And why can we not select which buildings we want to build over? So for example, I know they got rid of districts, but what if I want all of my economy buildings kind of close together? Why can I not select to, maybe I didn't have room, so I built a temple next to a marketplace. Why do I have to build over the marketplace? Why can't I not select to build over the temple instead? Maybe this is a feature and I don't know, and I just haven't figured out the button prompt to do that. Even then, it's not clear or concise. And especially in the later ages, when you're trying to figure out where you want your building, it's helpful to know pros and cons are for building over a building, as well as, maybe even an option to move a building in case maybe you built it in the wrong place. If you get rid of districts and let us settle individual buildings to have specific benefits, especially adjacency bonuses, this needs to be a thing. We didn't have the problem with Civ 6 because you planted districts, and those just districts contain the buildings that are required for that specific thing. And you built the district in the best area that you could at the time. And you could also see in the future, or when you're building districts, the other adjacency bonuses for that district. Why is there no trade options? They've changed trade. When you make a trade route, you get the resources of that city. In general, I have no problem with, but the thing is, you make a lot of gold. Your city has a certain amount of resources. Why are those resources not tradable? Why can't you not say, oh, we will give all of this fish for this city to you for blank turns? And going with the trade options with gold in general, why can we not use our gold for trades? When you're in a war and you're signing a peace treaty, there is no gold amount that you're able to enter. You can only settle with cities, but you can't just pay off another civilization, which is kind of annoying, especially someone like me who does the econ route, constantly has a lot of money. And, I kind of enjoy going to Napoleon, being like, hey, I'm going to give you 100k gold to buy this city. Why can we not trade in influence and in gold? Makes no sense why I can't buy a favor from another civilization, right? Say, I want to encourage another civilization to start a war. Going on to the alliance agreements, there's such a limited amount of alliance agreements. It's kind of baffling. And I still haven't really delved into it yet. I haven't played a civilization that specializes in diplomacy yet, so I'm not clear on this yet, but to me it feels a lot different from Civ 6, where you could have multiple different types of alliances. I don't understand why I have to break an alliance if I don't go to war with my partner. There's only one set of alliances, which is all in or all out, basically. Like, what happened to the non-military alliance? Why is it all in or all out? Speaking on the actions itself for influence, the spy options seem very limited. There's only a certain set of things you can do. You can only do it to one nation at a time. You can't have a spy really in every city doing every work kind of thing. Spies are no longer a unit that you generate. They're just an action, which kind of doesn't make sense because there are some nations in Civ 7 that their specialty is spies. So why can we not have multiple spy actions in multiple nations? It doesn't make sense. Why, when you catch a spy, your only options are to, accept the consequences or denounce the spy? Why can I not hold them for ransom like we did in Civ 6 because they're a unit? Why can I not demand compensation for this? Right? Why are they not part of the trade agreements? My other problem with the AI civs in general too is, why are they so aggressive to settle next to me? My friend and I were playing a civ game together, and I only had one city at the time, and the nearest civilization next to me was across the continent. The other two were far north, and then all around me were just city-states. There was plenty of room to expand, but the AI civilization decided to settle a city right next to me. And I was like, okay, fine. You took that territory, you got to civ there, that's fine. Do as you please, okay? Quote unquote, in the end, I'll take over it. As I said on stream, I'll take over it in the end. My military will run you over in the end. I don't care. But then I looked at my relationships with the AI, and the AI suddenly went from a positive relationship to an extremely negative relationship. Why, you may ask? Well, one, our borders are touching. I wonder why. And then two, I quote unquote settled too close to their civilization. And to me, I go back and look and it's like, that wasn't me. You chose to settle there. Why am I getting negative consequences because of the AI's dumb actions? Speaking on the AI and the system itself, I get really annoyed at the advisors now. The advisors yell at me like a greedy salesperson to constantly spend on both my money and influence. They get really angry at me if I'm hoarding money and influence over 1,000. And to which I go, well, maybe I'm saving up for the next era because we're at 98%. And they're like, oh, you're over 1,000. We need to spend it. Spend it. Why does the exploration age for most of the win conditions in that era require you going to the other side of the world? Why can't I just conquer my neighbors or for a military victory or establish a trade route with a distant land settlement and have, distant resources coming into my civilization? Why do those not count as points? The only win condition that doesn't require you going to the other side of the world is science, because you develop your own city. And speaking of science and the cultural victories, a lot of the conditions for those victories require you to generate relics or codexes, for example, which are locked behind the skill trees. Why is there no option to generate? What happened to the great people? Why is religion not present or impactful as previous games? Religion really is only used for military conquest. There's no real bonus for creating a religion. Yes, there's the +4, +2, whatever, but a lot of them involve being having that religion present in distant settlements across the ocean, not in your own. As I said before, what if you don't want to go distant in distant land? What if you just want to focus on your own cities and win through that, through culture or science, by being like a great civilization in this location? Why is the city tile growth limited to 3 tiles? Once again, I refer back to the 1 city challenge. Why am I stuck to 3 tiles? Why can I not go further? What if my city is doing so well, growing so fast, they've maxed out, which I have done a couple times because I've settled in coastal or mountainous areas where I don't have that many tiles available to you. If I have the resources, why can I not go further? Another annoying thing is a lot of the resources, some of them are 4 tiles away. Some are 5 tiles away. To get them, you have to either be America, which has a special unit that lets you take it, or you have to settle a city and count the tiles away from that city. Another issue I have is, why do cities convert back to towns each era? Why is there no option to spend X amount or choose what towns that you've developed into a city that era and keep as a city? Why, if I choose to develop 6 cities, am I not given an option to say, hey, you've developed 6 cities, please select 4 of those 6 cities to keep as a city? It makes no sense that every single era, all the cities convert back into towns except for your capital. And then I had to spend more resources, more money, which you don't have at the start of each new era, to convert them back into a city so you can continue your productions. And speaking of the end of the era, it makes no sense why wars instantly end, and more importantly, trade routes end. I get maybe wars ending over a couple hundred years. That can be logicked, but trade routes shouldn't disappear. And you should be given like a set number of merchants at the start of each era if you establish a set amount of trade routes. I'm alright with a percentage of my trade routes disappearing, but it makes no sense that I have trade routes in the antiquity or in the exploration age of like 30 or 40. Why am I not given an option to keep said amount or said percentage? In the modern era, why can I not use factory resources in other cities? If I have one city make factory resource, shouldn't I be able to move that resource to another city if they're connected by a port or railroad? We're able to move the other resources around. Why does my one city producing fish can only use that fish resource? Why can I not move that fish resource to other places? Why do planes, for example, feel like they come really late into the game? By the time I unlocked planes when I was doing a military run, my armies and my navies were already conquering cities without even batting an eyelash. Speaking on endings, it feels like the military and science victories feel like the middle step towards the ending. Launching Operation Ivy and launching a rocket into space, they don't feel like endgame victories versus the culture ones where you've made a celebration of all the cultures of the world, or you've united all the worlds under one currency. Those feel like endgames, whereas launching an Ivy bomb and launching a rocket into space is just like, whoop-de-doo, that's not a Mars civilization or conquering every single nation. I remember in Civ 5 and 6 where the way for military is to conquer everybody. The nuclear bombs and everything, that's just a step towards conquering everyone. At the end of the modern era, why do I get a weird notification that I've earned legacy points for the next era? There is no next era after the modern era, unless Firaxis is planning on releasing a new era, a future era or something. I haven't seen anything that says they will, so it kind of makes me question like, why is this here? On a side note too, as I've played 7 different civilizations, what is the purpose of the Great Walls? I unlock these features and I see they have their own little bonuses, but a lot of times maybe I'm doing it wrong, for example. I've only played 7 games so far. Maybe I'll learn that throughout the years, but I built these walls and I kind of look at it and it's just like, oh cool, and then in 10-15 turns I need to build another urban district. I'm like, well, the mint wall is not really providing the same amount of those bonuses as the other places, so I guess I gotta get rid of the mint wall because I can get better bonuses. That being said, I love the civilization Civilization series. It is one of my favorite games, and like an abusive relationship, I find myself constantly going back and playing Civ 7. I can't explain why, it's just a thing. The mix and match with leaders and civs, I feel it adds both flexibility and competitiveness to the game itself. You know, if you didn't do well in a certain age, you have a chance to recover by selecting a different civ and victory condition that aligns more with the territory you were stuck in. The game itself, it looks great. I do love watching the units move from place to place, and the buildings look nice, though it is sometimes hard to see the units and it's hard to figure out who's where. I have lost my units wherever in the buildings. The gameplay itself is relatively fun, and I do always find myself constantly going back over and over to play it. I love the skill tree and unlocking various skills through playing the leaders. I love, especially someone who loves doing economics, that economic victory is finally a thing. I kind of like how the trade routes work. I don't like moving my merchant over to another city. I rather have my merchant, you know, try to establish a route with a civilization by automatically not having me to send my merchant to a place. I do like the urban and rural tile developments and how that work. I like the abilities to select individual buildings where I want to put them, right? It makes the cities feel a lot more alive. Overall, currently, I would give Civ 7 a 6 out of 10. If you are a fan of Civilization itself, I would recommend getting the game, knowing that right now there's a lot of things to be fixed, but in the end, it's going to be fixed. And that's the mindset I still have going in playing constant games is, yes, this stuff is annoying, but in the end, they're going to fix this. If you're new to the Civilization series and you're thinking of trying this series, don't get Civ 7. Go buy Civ 6 or Civ 5, get the DLCs, play that instead. There's so much that's missing that needs to be addressed and fixed. If you like this video, feel free to like and subscribe. If you have thoughts or opinions, feel free to comment in the comments below. I constantly do review videos for games that I'm playing. I do playthroughs on my YouTube channel here, and I also stream on Twitch. A lot of times we're just hanging out, listening to music while I'm editing videos like this, or checking out new RPG games. We will see you guys next time. Bye-bye for now.